Naples is on top of volcanic monsters, and one of them threatens to destroy the city. Naples is a city that moves at more than one speed. At the fastest speeds, you witness everyday chaos. Cars and motorbikes hurtling through the streets of an Italian city like blood cells in a vein. Then there is slower evolution, namely the evolution of human history. This is a metropolis still shaped by decisions made hundreds of years ago. A network of narrow alleys that today's city planners would never have designed. Modern offices and hotels cling to Roman ruins and centuries-old villas. What is less obvious is that Naples also has geological speed, and it is this that has the most power. Most of it travels at a barely perceptible speed, but every so often, it accelerates into disaster. An eruption of fire and rock that disrupts all other timescales in the city. Naples volcanoes have had a different time than humans, evolving over decades, centuries, or even millennia, so it's easy to assume they are static. This is far from the truth. The most famous of these is Vesuvius, most famous for destroying Pompeii and Herculaneum in 79 AD. It towers high above the city. But there are other underground threats here, and some of them have much greater power. In fact, one of these giant volcanoes is showing worrying signs that it may soon erupt, and there are hundreds of thousands of people living on its top. To find out what it's like to live and work alongside these monsters, I recently visited Naples to film for the BBC, talking to geologists who study and observe them 24 hours a day. I discovered a city that was headed for disaster, but no one knew exactly when and where it would happen. One of the last times Naples experienced a major volcanic event was exactly 80 years ago this week. In mid-March 1944, during the Second World War, the magma and gas deposits that had been slowly building under Vesuvius suddenly began to erupt. A U.S. military doctor, Leander Powers, who was stationed in Italy at the time, described what he saw. Just as we were finishing dinner, someone called and said there was a huge red lava flow flowing down the side of Mount Vesuvius. We could see lights in the sky. All night and Sunday there was an earthquake with a terrible roar, similar to thunder. The windows shook, and the entire building shook. The next day, the events escalated. The roars became more frequent and thunderous like the roar of a lion. Powers wrote, streams of fire shot thousands of feet into the air, and the countryside was illuminated for miles around. Often the entire mountaintop looks like hellfire. A news report at the time showed stunning footage of giant ash clouds, roiling lava flows, and collapsed buildings. Today, Vesuvius is much calmer, and the cataclysmic events of 1944 are starting to fade from collective memory as the older generation passes away. Today, the peak is a tourist attraction with carriages transporting people to the top, and souvenir stands selling refrigerator magnets made from solidified lava. I came to follow a group of artists and scientists climbing to the top on a field trip as part of a festival called Volcanic Attitude. Vesuvius is not like mountains in general. Usually when you reach the top, you see the surrounding views, but here, the eye is drawn inwards, to the giant crater. When writer Joseph Addison came here in the 1700s, he called it a monstrous dome,